In the twilight of the 19th century, a German philosopher peered into the future and saw a world unraveling. Friedrich Nietzsche, with his piercing gaze and unruly mustache, uttered words that would echo through time. God is dead. But this wasn't a triumphant declaration, it was a dire warning. Nietzsche wasn't celebrating the demise of religion. He was sounding an alarm, foreseeing a world where the foundations of morality and meaning would crumble beneath our feet. He envisioned a coming age of chaos, a spiritual vacuum where anything could happen, and likely would. For decades, scholars debated whether Nietzsche was an alarmist or a prophet. They pored over his words, arguing about metaphors and madmen. But now, as we stand in the uncertain light of 2025, his predictions have taken on a chilling new resonance. Look around you. Our societies fracture along ever-deepening fault lines. Trust in institutions erodes like sand castles at high tide. An artificial intelligence that digital Prometheus threatens to render human purpose obsolete. In this swirling maelstrom of change, Nietzsche's warnings have resurfaced. No longer academic curiosities, but urgent messages from the past. But here's the truly unsettling part. Nietzsche didn't just foresee the chaos. He predicted how we would respond to it. He saw the choices we would face, the temptations we would grapple with, and the potential futures that would beckon us forward or drag us down. As we stand at this crossroads of history, a question burns in our minds. Are we witnessing the unraveling of society as Nietzsche foretold? Or are we on the cusp of a radical transformation, a painful but necessary evolution into something entirely new? The answer, my friends, may lie in the very prophecy that haunts us. Nietzsche spoke of an abyss, a yawning chasm of meaninglessness that would open up. Once our old certainties had fallen away, he saw a world without shared values, without a common purpose, adrift in a sea of relativism and nihilism. Does this sound familiar? Look at our fractured political landscape, where truth seems to splinter into 1,000 conflicting narratives. Witness the rise of algorithmic thinking, where our deepest desires and fears are quantified and commodified. Feel the confusion of identity. In an age where the self is increasingly fluid and performative, we are living in Nietzsche's abyss. But we're not just passive observers of this cultural collapse. We're active participants, sometimes unwitting, sometimes willing. Every time we lose ourselves in the endless scroll of social media, chasing dopamine hits and fleeting validation, we inch closer to Nietzsche's vision. When we reduce complex ideas to simplistic memes or engage in tribal thinking, we're playing out the script he wrote over a century ago. But it's not just our online behavior that echoes Nietzsche's warnings. Look at the rise of extremism, the polarization of discourse, the retreat into comforting bubbles of like-minded individuals. We're witnessing the fragmentation of shared reality in real time. And yet, as unsettling as this may be, there's a strange comfort in recognizing our predicament. Because Nietzsche didn't just predict our crisis, he offered a way through it. He spoke of the Übermensch, often mistranslated as Superman, but better understood as the Overman or Beyond Man. This wasn't a call for superpowers or domination. It was an invitation to transcend our current limitations, to forge new values in the face of meaninglessness, to create purpose where there is none. Nietzsche challenged us to stare into the abyss without flinching, to embrace the terrifying freedom of a world without inherent meaning, and to become the authors of our own destinies. He saw this as the great task of humanity in the wake of God's death, not to despair, but to create. But here's the rub. This path is not easy. It demands courage, creativity, and a willingness to grapple with uncomfortable truths. It requires us to question everything we think we know, to challenge our deepest assumptions, and to take responsibility for shaping our own values. And this brings us to the heart of Nietzsche's prophecy, the choice he saw looming before us. On one hand, we have the path of the last man, the complacent, pleasure-seeking individual who avoids all risk and difficulty, content to live in a world of shallow distractions and comfortable lies. The last man, Nietzsche warned, would be the final product of our civilization's decline. Passive, risk-averse, seeking only comfort and security. The last man would proclaim, "We have discovered happiness," while wallowing in mediocrity. Sound familiar? In our age of endless entertainment, of curated social media feeds that reinforce our biases, of AI assistants that cater to our every whim, are we not in danger of becoming Nietzsche's last men? But there's another path, the path of the creator, the risk-taker, the one who dares to forge new meaning in the face of the abyss. This is the path of the Übermensch, not as a superior being, but as a state of becoming, a continuous process of self-overcoming and value creation. This path demands that we confront the hardest questions. In a world without inherent meaning, How do we create purpose in the face of AI that can mimic human creativity? What makes our contributions unique and valuable as traditional identities dissolve? How do we forge authentic selves? These are not abstract philosophical puzzles. They are the urgent challenges of our time, and how we answer them will shape the future of our species. So, as we stand at this precipice, gazing into Nietzsche's abyss, we face a choice. Will we retreat into the comfortable numbness of the last man, losing ourselves in distraction and false certainties? Or will we summon the courage to create, to forge new values, to stare unflinchingly at the chaos and say, "This is our world to shape"? The clock is ticking, the abyss yawns before us, and Nietzsche's voice echoes across the centuries, challenging us to rise to this moment. What will you choose? Will you conform and fade into the background noise of history? Or will you rise to the challenge, embracing the terrifying freedom to create meaning in a meaningless world? The answer, my friends, lies not in some distant philosophy book. It lies in the choices you make every day, in how you engage with the world, in the values you uphold, in the purpose you forge for yourself. Nietzsche's prophecy is not a death sentence. It's a call to awakening, a challenge to become the authors of our own destinies, the creators of new values in a world desperately in need of meaning. So, I ask you, are you ready to stare into the abyss? Are you prepared to grapple with the hardest questions of our time? Can you summon the courage to create in the face of chaos? The future Nietzsche foresaw is here, but the ending of this story, that's up to us. Imagine a world where comfort reigns supreme, where the pursuit of greatness is abandoned, and where the masses are content with mere existence. This isn't a dystopian fantasy, it's the chilling prophecy of Friedrich Nietzsche, a visionary philosopher who peered into the future over a century ago and saw the shadows of our present reality. In his seminal work, Thus Spoke Zarathustra, Nietzsche introduced us to a haunting figure, the last man. This isn't a hero or a villain, but something far more insidious, a representation of humanity's potential descent into mediocrity. The last man, Nietzsche warned, would be the ultimate product of a society that values comfort above all else, a being so content with their mundane existence that they've lost the will to strive for anything greater. But why should we care about the musings of a 19th century philosopher? Because, dear viewer, as we scroll through our feeds, binge-watch our shows, and seek validation through likes and shares, we might just be witnessing the birth of Nietzsche's last man in real time. Picture this, a person so afraid of discomfort that they avoid all risk, so addicted to instant gratification that they've lost the ability to delay pleasure, so immersed in trivial distractions that they've forgotten how to think deeply. Sound familiar? It should, because this is the world we're increasingly inhabiting. The last man doesn't rebel, he scrolls. He doesn't question, he consumes. In a society where algorithms curate our thoughts and social media shapes our identities, we're in danger of becoming exactly what Nietzsche feared: passive, trivial, and spiritually hollow beings. But this isn't just philosophical conjecture. The signs of this cultural shift are measurable and alarming. Studies show rising rates of depression, loneliness, and existential crisis across the globe. Our digital devices, once hailed as tools of connection and empowerment, have become our modern-day opiates, numbing us to the depth and complexity of real human experience. We've traded the struggle for meaning with the comfort of distraction. Instead of facing the abyss of existence, we fill it with endless streams of content. We've become masters of avoiding discomfort, experts at escaping the very challenges that could forge us into stronger, more resilient beings. Nietzsche's critique has transcended philosophy to become a sociological reality. We're living in an age where the pursuit of likes has replaced the pursuit of truth, where the fear of missing out has overshadowed the fear of living an inauthentic life. The last man isn't just a concept anymore, it's a mirror reflecting our collective descent into comfortable apathy. But before we sink too deep into despair, we must ask ourselves, do you ever feel like the last man, safe but unfulfilled? Do you recognize the creeping sense of emptiness that comes from a life devoid of meaningful struggle? If you do, take heart, for Nietzsche didn't just warn us of this fate, he offered an alternative that challenges us to rise above our complacency, to embrace discomfort as a catalyst for growth, and to forge our own meaning in a world that seems increasingly devoid of it. But what is this alternative? What did Nietzsche envision as the antidote to the last man? The answer lies in a concept so radical, so transformative, that it has the power to shake us from our comfortable slumber and propel us towards greatness. Enter the Übermensch, or the Overman, Nietzsche's vision of human potential fully realized. This isn't a superhero or a genetic marvel, but rather a state of being that transcends our current limitations. The Übermensch is one who creates their own values, who embraces life in all its complexity, and who strives for self-mastery in the face of an indifferent universe. But how do we become the Übermensch in a world that seems designed to turn us into the last man? It starts with a fundamental shift in perspective. Instead of seeking comfort, we must learn to embrace discomfort as a teacher. Instead of numbing ourselves with endless distractions, we must cultivate the ability to sit with our thoughts, to wrestle with the big questions of existence. This journey towards self-actualization isn't easy. It requires us to challenge our deepest assumptions, to question the values we've inherited, and to forge our own path in a world that rewards conformity. It demands that we face our fears, confront our limitations, and push beyond the boundaries of what we thought possible. But the rewards of this journey are immeasurable. By striving to become the Übermensch, we reclaim our agency in a world that seeks to reduce us to passive consumers. We rediscover the thrill of genuine growth, the satisfaction of overcoming real obstacles, and the profound sense of purpose that comes from living authentically. Imagine a life where every challenge is an opportunity for growth, where every setback is a chance to demonstrate resilience, where every moment is infused with the potential for transformation. This is the life of the Übermensch, a life of constant becoming, of perpetual self-overcoming. But this vision isn't just about individual transformation. Nietzsche saw the Übermensch as a catalyst for cultural renewal, a force capable of breathing new life into a stagnant society. By embodying the values of creativity, courage, and self-mastery, the Übermensch inspires others to rise above mediocrity and strive for greatness. In our current era of digital distraction and spiritual confusion, the call to become the Übermensch is more urgent than ever. We stand at a crossroads, faced with a choice that will define not just our individual lives, but the future of our species. Will we succumb to the comfortable numbness of the last man, or will we answer the call to greatness? The path of the Übermensch isn't for the faint of heart. It requires us to confront the void of meaninglessness and create our own purpose. It demands that we take responsibility for our lives in a way that many find terrifying. But for those brave enough to embark on this journey, the rewards are beyond measure. As we stand on the precipice of this choice, we must ask ourselves, are we content to be the last men, scrolling our lives away in comfortable obscurity? Or do we dare to aspire to something greater, to become the authors of our own destinies? The choice is yours. The comfortable path of the last man beckons, offering a life free from struggle but devoid of true fulfillment. On the other hand, the challenging but rewarding path of the Übermensch calls out, promising a life of purpose, growth, and self-realization. In this age of AI, automation, and algorithmic living, the pursuit of human excellence has never been more crucial. As machines take over more of our tasks, what remains uniquely human, our capacity for creativity, empathy, and self-transcendence becomes our most valuable asset. So, dear viewer, as you stand at this crossroads, ask yourself, which path will you choose? Will you embrace the comfort of mediocrity? Or will you answer the call to greatness? Your future hangs in the balance. Remember, in the words of Nietzsche himself, he who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow. Find your why, embrace the struggle, become the Übermensch. The world is waiting for you to rise. In the twilight of the 19th century, a German philosopher peered into the abyss of human potential and saw two stark futures unfolding. Friedrich Nietzsche, with his piercing gaze and uncompromising vision, warned of a cultural collapse that would shake the very foundations of meaning itself. Now, over 100 years later, as we scroll through endless feeds and grapple with AI-generated realities, his words echo with an unsettling resonance. Nietzsche spoke of the last man, a being so comfortable, so devoid of passion and purpose, that they had become a hollow shell of human potential. Look around you. Do you see the signs? The endless pursuit of fleeting pleasures, the fear of true challenge, the desperate need for constant distraction. We live in an age where depth is sacrificed on the altar of convenience, where genuine human connection is replaced by digital facsimiles. But Nietzsche wasn't a prophet of doom. He offered us a choice, a radical, terrifying, exhilarating choice. In the face of this spiritual vacuum, he proposed the idea of the Übermensch, the Overman. This wasn't some fascist fantasy of genetic superiority. No, the Übermensch was something far more profound, far more challenging to each of us as individuals. The Übermensch is a creator, a being who forges their own values in the fires of existence. In a world without inherent meaning, the Übermensch doesn't despair. They create. They embrace the struggle, the pain, the uncertainty of life not as burdens to be avoided, but as the very essence of what it means to be truly alive. Think of the great innovators of our time, not the shallow influencers chasing likes, but those who push boundaries, who challenge the status quo, who dare to imagine a different future. The artist who pours their soul onto canvas, not for fame, but because they must. The scientist who dedicates decades to unlocking the secrets of the universe, driven by an insatiable curiosity. The social reformer who stands against injustice, even when it means facing ridicule and danger. These are not superhumans. They are individuals who have chosen to embrace the full weight of human existence. They understand that true meaning isn't handed to us on a silver platter. It's carved out through action, through commitment, through the willingness to face the void and say, I will create something of value here. The path of the Übermensch isn't about power over others. It's about power over oneself. It's about taking full responsibility for your choices, your values, your impact on the world. It demands a stoic acceptance of life's hardships coupled with an unwavering determination to find purpose even in a universe that offers no easy answers. Nietzsche's call resonates now more than ever, as we stand at the precipice of unprecedented technological change. As old certainties crumble around us, we face a stark choice. Will we retreat into the comfortable numbness of the last man, seeking only to be entertained and protected from all discomfort? Or will we dare to become something more? The journey of the Übermensch is not for the faint of heart. It requires us to confront our deepest fears, to question everything we've been taught, to stand alone if necessary in defense of what we believe to be right. It asks us to find beauty in the struggle itself, to embrace the full spectrum of human experience, the joy and the pain, the triumphs and the failures. But what happens if we ignore this call? What becomes of a society that chooses comfort over growth, distraction over depth, conformity over creation? We risk becoming a civilization of last men, sleepwalking through existence, numb to the very things that make us human. The choice lies before us, as individuals and as a species. Will we allow ourselves to be lulled into a false sense of security by the endless stream of digital noise? Or will we have the courage to step back, to look inward, to ask the hard questions about what truly matters? Nietzsche's vision wasn't of a world ruled by supermen. It was a call for each of us to awaken the potential for greatness that lies dormant within, to stop being passive consumers of life and become active creators of meaning, to face the abyss of existence not with fear, but with a defiant yes to life in all its complexity. This is not an easy path. It requires us to constantly challenge ourselves, to push beyond our comfort zones, to risk failure and ridicule in pursuit of something greater. But it is in this struggle that we find our truest selves, that we unlock the depths of human potential. As we stand at this crossroads of history, with AI reshaping the very nature of work and creativity, with global challenges that seem insurmountable, Nietzsche's words ring out across the centuries. Will we choose the path of least resistance, allowing ourselves to be shaped by algorithms and fleeting trends? Or will we take up the mantle of the Übermensch, forging our own values, creating meaning in a world that often seems devoid of it? The choice is yours every day. In countless small decisions, you shape the person you are becoming. Are you moving towards greater depth, greater responsibility, greater engagement with life? Or are you slowly slipping into the comfortable numbness of the last man? Remember, the Übermensch isn't some distant ideal. It's a potential within each of us, waiting to be awakened. It's the voice that urges you to take that risk, to speak that truth, to create that work of art even when the world tells you it's foolish. It's the part of you that knows there's more to life than mere survival or shallow pleasures. As we close this exploration of Nietzsche's prophecy and promise, I leave you with a question that has the power to shake you out of complacency, to ignite the spark of something greater within you. What would it take for you to stop conforming and start creating your own values? The answer to that question could change everything, not just for you, but for the world around you. For in choosing to become more, in daring to create meaning in the face of meaninglessness, you light a beacon for others. You become living proof that there is an alternative to the path of the last man. Nietzsche's warning echoes through time, a clarion call in an age of distraction and spiritual confusion. But embedded within that warning is a profound hope, the hope that we, as individuals and as a species, can rise to the challenge, that we can face the void not with despair, but with creativity, courage, and an unshakable commitment to becoming more than we are. The choice is yours. The time is now. Will you heed the call?